Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you to the Liberty Ventures team and Sir Richard Branson for hosting us on this beautiful island. I want to talk to you guys about some personal experience. I grew up in Austria, and at a very young age, like in kindergarten, I broke out of kindergarten, and I've always been looking for something in society, something in culture. I knew something wasn't right in the kindergarten. At the same time, as a kid, I always had this trust that clearly everything must be perfect in the world I'm in, because the adults who know what's going on, they must know what's right, so everything must be perfect. And still, school, and I know many of you can probably relate to that, it didn't feel right. I was just sitting around. My music teacher just put his headphones on and ignored us for an hour. I cut a deal with my English teacher. I could just read any book as long as it was English. In a lot of classes, I picked locks underneath the table. So on some level, this happy world as a kid, it just started breaking. Right? I was like, not everything is right with the world. And started looking. So I joined every club I could join. I started so many clubs myself. I joined the Kurt Gödel Society for Logic because that happens to be in Vienna. I started a hacker group that became very successful. I actually started being paid by many Austrian banks when I was 16, the Austrian Lottery Corporation, to do that. I was just searching. And I got invited to speak at some things. I was actually helping some activists with computer security, and I kind of started slowly notice I'm good at this, but it still didn't feel right. I moved to the United States. I worked on businesses before in Europe and in the United States. I went to Burning Man. I traveled around like many of you, and I was looking for community. I was looking for connection. That was definitely there. But there's still something was missing. And this is a diagnosis of why I think cultural entrepreneurship is important. And I know many of you, like I heard stories all day, all week, are working on this. But my big takeaway from all of it was that what we're really missing is nothing or almost nothing contemporary yearns to be truly eternal. We used to build cities for real all the time, right? There were new cities and monuments and things to last hundreds, thousands of years. That was our way of having legacy. I love Burning Man. I think it is really good. I know the people involved, so many of them. It's amazing. But it is a city that is built for a week, then goes up in flames. Imagine if all that energy went into building things, into essentially planting trees in which shade we shall never sit, right? That would be a completely different society. That would be institutions that are not just there to enrich and build status for the people building them right now, but they would be meant to last. I think modernity really worships optionality. Like, we want to be able to leave, to switch, to abandon things. And again, I don't think that's all bad. I think it is amazing that I can rent an Airbnb and go on a vacation and build community. It's absolutely incredible. But I think our current society lives in what I call the forever present. We are building festivals instead of building new villages, towns, cities. I know that's changing. There's people in this community and beyond who've been for a long time speaking up for charter cities, for frontier cities, and it's really happening now. It's so exciting. There's things like Prospera in Honduras. It's slowly starting. We're going on vacations instead of building family estates. So I think we lost something. I do think there's outliers, and obviously many of the things you're working on are that. I think Mars is a good example, and Elon always speaks about how it's inspiring. And I think what's so inspiring about it is that you truly need to believe that humanity is good, has a purpose, should exist, and will still exist hundreds of years of now, if you're showing the revealed preference of colonizing Mars, right? That's a multi-hundred-year project. And I think that's what's so inspired. It's so out of place in modernity to just say, no, we're building for something that's longer and larger than us. Yes, we want to live longer. We want longevity. Maybe we want to live to like 150, 200, but there are things that are even longer than that. I think we need to reclaim the eternal. We must stop ceding ground to short-term thinking. You know, the world is going to end, the rapture is coming, AI is ending, pandemic is coming, everything is ending. No, it's not ending. We need to build institutions that last long. We need to actually, instead of fighting against families that are in the 9th generation or even giving them advice, and I've seen this, there are consultancies who tell families who are in their 7th, 8th, 9th generation to basically bring in professional management. We need to instead look at those families. What have they done right? And instead of blaming it, I think it would be really, really beautiful if we could learn from it and help people who might not have any wealth yet to use what's right about that, so that hopefully in the 1st generation, but also in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, they get stronger. I think dynasties are not just something for the wealthy and rich and privileged. I think they are the learnings in successful intergenerational families are more valuable than the money. So we need to build institutions that last again, and we need to really have the ambition to do that. This is really urgent because when the boomers were 30 years old, half the population was younger than them. When the kids born in the last 5 years will turn 30, only 1 in 11 will be younger than them. Just imagine how different your life would be. Like we've all lived beautiful, probably hard, but also beautiful lives. Just imagine dating, imagine business, imagine everything when half the population is younger than you when you're 30, right? Everything is young. Also, everyone was, like healthy, good looking. Everything was perfect. Not quite, but imagine if 1 in 11 is younger, right? Everyone is basically like older than you. Completely different outlook. That's already happened. We can't change that anymore. But I think we have a duty to now create that legacy of breaking this cycle. And I think what we need to do is, and I know there are people here who work in movies, in script writing. I want to start a short story contest for a positive future that makes it high status again to build institutions, including the family. We need to build new institutions. We need to build enduring connections. I hope that's what we're doing here. It looks really, really good. I've made some amazing friends here already. And we need to work on rebuilding these cultural foundations. I'm not talking about something prescriptive. I don't have the answers, but I really want to connect with people who work on this, and I want to dedicate my life to rebuilding these cultural institutions. So the next steps are we should study, we should create new movies, new movie studios, new cities. I'm involved in some projects to build new cities, including one in California, like things that are actually meant to be intergenerational for hundreds of years, and then spread the word and start events around this topic of relearning how to yearn for the eternal. And pretty close to the end here, basically I want to say rockets are not enough. We need rockets, reactors, GPUs, but I don't think we can sustain civilization simply on cheap energy. We actually need a will for something that lasts longer than us. On a high note, I think we can actually rebuild Chesterton's fence. We can't go back to the past where religion and tradition held things up. But I think the people here in this room and our friends and many more people we haven't met yet, we have the tools to create new institutions that can teach ourselves, our friends, and also the next generations that it is actually beautiful to build for something that's thousands of years in the future. Thank you.